Hello, everybody. My name is Gautam Raghavan, and I work in the Office of Public Engagement at the White House. And it is great to see you all today. Welcome to the inaugural National AAPI Community Google Hangout. And we're just thrilled to be here in Washington, D.C., and we have folks from all over the country who are tuning in as well. We're here to build on some of the topics that President Obama recently talked about in his State of the Union, and we're also here to talk about some of your priorities and opportunities to engage with us in the coming year with API communities all across the nation. So we're going to discuss increased community engagement efforts, especially at the local level, and also announce a couple of innovative public engagement efforts that we're working on here to connect APIs nationwide with the federal government. And we want to hear from you through this entire process. So we want to take your questions, and you can do that in 3 different ways. One is you can leave your questions on the Google Plus page. Second is you can tweet your questions at us, and you can use the hashtag WHIAAPI. That's a mouthful. So it's WHIAAPI, WHIAAPI. And you can also email us your questions at whitehouseaapi@ed.gov. And I'll repeat that again. It's whitehouseaapi@ed.gov. So we're going to be responding to your questions throughout this Google Hangout and look forward to hearing from you. So today we have some wonderful folks involved, officials and community leaders from all across the country. So I want to introduce them real quick. Sitting right here with me, we have Kiran Ahuja, who is Executive Director of the White House Initiative on AAPIs, WIAPI, as I mentioned earlier, and Conrad Eng, who is the Director of the Smithsonian Asian Pacific American Center. We also have with us Region 9 Regional Interagency Working Group members in San Francisco, California, representing multiple federal agencies, excuse me. We also have with us Malik Pancholi, who some of you might remember, who starred on 30 Rock, and he's out in Los Angeles, California. And we have students at the White House Initiative on API headquarters, many of whom are here for the East Coast Asian American Student Union conference, which begins tomorrow. And for those of you who are in town for that conference, I hope you're excited. Secretary of Education Arnie Duncan is going to be speaking there. We're really thrilled about that. We also have business leaders with the Asian Pacific Islander American Chamber of Commerce and Entrepreneurship, or ACE, at the Austin Chamber of Commerce in Texas. And we have the Association of Asian Pacific American Community Health Organizations, or AAPI as we call them, and Asian Health Services in Oakland, California. So as you can tell, we're all over the country, from here in D.C. to California and Texas in between. But to get things started, I want to hand it off to my friend and colleague right over here, Kiran Ahuja. Kiran.
Thank you, Gautam. It's great to be here and to see everyone. I'm really excited to talk about a few things that are really important to the work that we're doing here with the White House Initiative on AAPIs. First of all, hopefully you saw the State of the Union. It was a really important message that the President had for us. It was what I considered a call to action for all of us in 2014 about expanding opportunities for all Americans. And I think we want to take that theme of expanding opportunities for our communities, for the AAPI communities. And that's really the theme of this Google Hangout, a number of things that we're going to be talking about. You know, what I think is really interesting, if you step back, is that to see just the amazing growth that's taking place all across this country. There are Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in every corner of this country, including myself. I came from Savannah, Georgia. So I think what's interesting is seeing kind of where we are across the country, this tremendous growth, but also looking at the diverse needs and just how unique our community is. So with that in mind, we are approaching this effort with, I think, even more vigor and excitement. We're wanting to go even deeper in our engagement here at the national level in Washington, D.C. around the work that we're doing that we're going to talk about, and also how we can expand our efforts, really multiply our efforts across the country. And so we're coming to you. We're bringing Washington, D.C. to you. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we want you to get involved in that. So first of all, I wanted to mention a really exciting effort that we've launched this year, which is the establishment of our Regional Interagency Working Group. I know that doesn't sound super interesting, like Regional Interagency Working Group, so I was thinking we could just call it like our initiatives posse. So basically we have our folks all over the country, regional federal officials, who are in every federal region in this country wanting to get to know you, wanting to build relationships, to reach out and work on the issues that you think are important in your communities. Right now we have 120 federal officials as a part of this effort. They're in places like Boston and Kansas City and Atlanta, Georgia, in New York City and in San Francisco, and they're already planning a number of regional roundtables, and we want you to become a part of that. So we're hoping that you'll reach out to us and let us know that you're interested, but more importantly, we want you to bring your friends and family and community leaders to be a part of this effort. I mean, our position is that we can only do this job if we're partnering with you to be a part of this effort. So we're really excited about this regional effort. We want you to know about it, and we hope that you'll be really engaged when our federal officials come knocking on your door. Another effort that we wanted to mention is that we have for quite some time really gone out to a lot of different areas in this country. We've done more than 200 events and summits and conversations and meetings. And I think that what we've learned is that, we want to spend time where we know our community is emerging in places like Atlanta and Houston and Ohio. And we've done these regional summits where they've been huge galvanizing efforts for the community. What's really interesting about these summits is not just that it's just like the community leaders, it's state, local government, it's business leaders, it's folks from all sectors coming under this big umbrella to work together to tackle the problems that are taking place in your local communities. But not only that, they're amplifying the importance of our communities. They're letting people know that that we're there and that we should, that our leaders should be taking notice of us. I think what's really interesting is that when I was in Atlanta, Georgia, folks were talking about there's a county in Georgia where I'm from that has 13% Asian American population. 13%. Now, I know that may not be a big deal for you guys in California, but that's like a big deal in Georgia. And so I think those are the things that we want to be talking about with all of you. Finally, really, as a part of that summit, what I wanted to mention was we're really excited about the fact that we are going to Guam. We're coming to Guam in April, and this has been a long time coming. We have been working really hard with the Pacific Islander community here, better understanding the issues that are so important to this community, and really trying to dispel this model minority myth that we are just all doing fine, and that really is not the case. And I think for us, what we're excited about, not only that the initiative is going to be there, but that we're bringing a host of federal officials from all these different agencies, from Commerce to Health and Human Services to the Department of Education. They're all going to be there with us, meeting with regional leaders. So we're really excited about that. So finally, if you're amped up about what we're doing, what I wanted to talk with you about is a really wonderful challenge that we're putting out there, that we want to officially partner with all of you, and we're looking for your ideas. We know that we don't have all the answers to figure out what's best for our community, and we've been doing these interesting partnerships with folks on conferences, on webinars, and even on working on promoting internships, a lot of different kinds of partnerships. And what we're looking for is your ideas that we can promote, that we can actually do more of the work that we think is important in your community. So we hope that you will reach out to us. We're going to be announcing more of this in the coming week, but we want you to check out whitehouse.gov, AAPI, to learn more about these efforts. So I know that's a lot, but we can talk a little bit more about that later.
What was that website again, Karen?
Whitehouse.gov, AAPI.
Great. Well, thank you for telling us all about all this exciting work. And I have to say, since you mentioned Atlanta a bunch of times, I'm from Seattle. Woo! So Seattle, what's up? Hey, people. All right. Well, we're now excited to turn over to the other folks sitting next to me. Conrad, why don't you tell us about what you're up to?
Well, good afternoon or good morning and aloha, everyone. Let me express my thanks to Gautam and Kieran and the White House Initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders for inviting me and the Smithsonian Asian Pacific American Center to be part of this call. I'm just thrilled to be here. I've known these guys for a few years now, and I'm always animated by the work and passion they put in. From our standpoint, we provide history, art, and culture when it comes to understanding the national patrimony, and it's just terrific to see the vitality of lived lives out across the country animate the stories that we try to tell. So, as director of the Asian Pacific American Center, our mission is to serve as a national resource for discovering America's Asian Pacific heritage through exhibitions, programs, and digital initiatives. And our mission is driven by this vision that we want to enrich the appreciation of America's diverse heritages and also empower Asian Pacific American communities across the country in their sense of inclusion in the national culture. One of the key projects that we engage in each year is the celebration and commemoration of Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, the month of May. Now, in 1977, Frank Horton and Congressman Frank Horton and Congressman Norman Mineta introduced legislation to call upon the President to designate May as the month where we recognize the challenges and the significant contributions and achievements of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to the American story. Now, this legislation was joined by the Senate, and with Senator Daniel Inouye and Senator Spark Matsunaga, both senators from my home state of Hawaii. Hello, Hawaii, and aloha. But they joined their colleagues in the House and said, we need a moment, a month which represents when the first immigration of Japanese came to the United States in May, when the completion of the Transcontinental Railway, one of the great modern achievements in American history, built by Chinese laborers. They chose May, and they felt that May would be an opportunity to think of the American experience from a different perspective. Our role at the Smithsonian is we felt that this month deserves a theme, and this is something that we worked with Gautam and Kieran last year with I Want the White American Earth, and this year the theme that we are using for Heritage Month is I Am Beyond. Now, I Am Beyond speaks to many things, and I think this is something that is definitive of the Asian American, Pacific Islander, and Native Hawaiian experience, is that at every moment, particularly in every moment in American history, when there have been challenges, what's definitive of our experience is that we've met those challenges and we've excelled beyond them. Whether they be limits in terms of stereotypes, whether there be calls to address the nation and its challenges, we've met those challenges and we've excelled beyond them. In fact, we continue to excel beyond them. So we have people like Dalip Singh San, who is the first congressman of Asian descent. He's somebody who lobbied for naturalization for all Asian immigrants so they could become U.S. citizens. And when he did, he served office first as mayor and then as congressman. We can think of Representative Patsy Mink, a woman from Hawaii whose lasting legacy is equal opportunity in education. We can think of Senator Daniel Inouye, one of the most historic figures in Asian American history, someone who came from a community, Japanese Americans, and yesterday was the Day of Remembrance, who were interned during World War II. And I remember this story where he said that as the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor was happening and the aftermath, he was talking to his father, and I think to paraphrase, the idea was, his father said to him, "Son, don't give people a reason to hate you. Give them a reason to admire you and respect you." And he went on to enroll in service and fought on behalf of the country. We can think of Grace Lee Boggs, an activist, a community activist who has been with us for decades, being able to call upon grassroots movements as a way of empowering ourselves and going beyond the challenges that face us. So we think this theme is one that speaks to what we all experience, something that brings us together and asks the public to consider the American story from a different perspective, but one in which is aspirational, that's inspirational. Next week we'll be opening an exhibition called Beyond Bollywood, Indian Americans Shape the Nation at the National Museum of Natural History. And its very premise of that exhibition is to go beyond stereotypes, to go beyond kind of one-dimensional understandings. So that's what we'll be doing this May, and we hope that you, all out there across the country, will join us. That you'll join us in celebrating and commemorating Asian Pacific American Heritage Month with the theme I Am Beyond. Now you can join us virtually. You can use it as a Twitter hashtag. You can submit materials, and otherwise we'll be putting more stuff on our website to share how to do that. But we're also going to be doing things live, and we hope that you will take to your creative passions or to your personal experiences and share your story of what it means to be I am beyond. It's something that you feel is part of being your cultural heritage, being Asian American, or Pacific Islander, or Native Hawaiian, or mixed, or Hapa, part of that large experience that defines contemporary America. So we hope you'll join us, and we're hoping that once we have all this material, we'll be celebrating that during May, highlighting some works, and we're focusing on being able to bring out and highlight some key works in May, on May the 6th. So more details about that will be coming soon. You can visit us online, www.apa.si.edu. We're going to be putting that material up there regarding I Am Beyond and Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And we really do hope you will join us, because this is a celebration for all of us. And I think truly it really makes us stronger when we think about the things that keep us thinking more positively and hopeful about what it means to be who we are and what it means to be part of this great country. Thank you very much for being part of this. I'm just so thrilled to be here.
Thank you. Thanks, Conrad. Thanks. And just as a reminder, folks, if you want to be asking questions throughout this Google Hangout, you can do that. You can ask questions on the Google Plus page. You can also tweet questions at us using the hashtag WHIAAPI. And you can also email us questions at whitehouseaapi@ed.gov. So far, you've heard about two great ways to get involved, with the White House Initiative's call for partnerships and with the Smithsonian's theme for APA Heritage Month, I Am Beyond. And now what we want to do is tell you a little bit about how you can get involved at the local level with some of our federal agencies. So to kick that off, we're going to go across the country to the West Coast, the best coast, to our friends Linda Lee and Barbara Goto, who are with the Region 9 in San Francisco. So, ladies, over to you.
Hello from San Francisco and Region 9's Northern California Regional Interagency Working Group, for RIWG. I'm Linda Lee, and this is Barbara Goto, and we're very lucky to have with us several members from our Region 9's group today. Who are we? We are your local face for government, for federal government. As Karen mentioned before, RIWG members across the country are planning roundtables and workshops throughout the upcoming year so that we can really engage and serve our local AAPI communities. So please keep your eye open for the RIWG event nearest you. Bay Area viewers, please join all of us in Oakland on March 25th. But today, the initiative seeks to put federal government at your fingertips in a different way. Drum roll. All right. We are releasing 24 agency plans. Imagine federal government dropping all its bureaucratic jargon and alphabet soup of awkward acronyms, and we're going to speak really plainly and concretely about what we will do to serve AAPIs. So these plans break down the government agency by agency with all of the great services and programs that we offer, and puts it in an easy-to-read format. So you can check our goals and activities that the agencies have staked out over the next 2 years to better serve AAPI families and communities.
So you're probably asking yourself, agency plans? What agency plans? What are these, and how does that affect me personally? Well, hopefully I can answer that by giving you a glimpse into some of the goals that make up these agency plans. So first of all, there's data. Data, 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 and more data. Federal agencies love to collect data. But what we have found is data disaggregation, or breaking it down into subgroups, really is what we need and is critical for understanding our AAPI community. So agencies know this, and they're planning to collect additional data from AAPI subpopulation groups in their intake forms in order for them to better understand how AAPI participation is with our federal agencies. With that information, they can look at their programs, make improvements, and develop better priorities and policies. So better data makes for better policy. We also know that 1 in 3 AAPIs is also limited English proficient, or LEP. So if you are LEP, what that means is your access to health care services is limited, you probably would not try to apply for government loans or contracting opportunities or other advantages, take advantage of other federal services that are available to you throughout the country. So some agencies are now conducting surveys about the language access barriers so that they can make improvements, while others plan to inventory their bilingual staff and see if they need to increase it. Agencies also want to make sure that their federal workforce truly is reflective of the diversity across the country. The AAPI community is growing quickly, and federal agencies are aware of this demographic. So some of them are developing recruitment strategies, they're planning to attend job fairs, they're also targeting AAPIs, another one of those acronyms, and that means Asian American, Native American, and Pacific Islanders serving institutions. What they want to do is to create a pipeline where AAPIs are encouraged to work for the government and increase the AAPIs in our federal workforce. They plan to provide career development and mentoring programs, also to encourage more AAPI representatives in the upper levels of leadership in our government. And finally, there are so many opportunities for federal grants, resources, and other programs, yet none of that does very much good if you don't know about it. So federal agencies are trying to partner with community groups to raise the awareness. They're planning to review their grant application process and programs, and also organize community forums to share their resources.
Okay, that is a lot to digest here, but think of it this way. It's a 2 to 3 page roadmap for agency priorities over the next 2 years. 2 to 3 pages is like haiku for us, okay? So now that the initiative has released these very comprehensive but concise plans, what can you do? Well, we want your feedback. This is your opportunity to tell us what you think. We want to know what you think of these goals. Are there specific things you like about them? What comments do you have to make them more relevant to your lives? Are we on the right track, or should we be taking certain detours or adjusting our priorities? We hope that you will use the initiative's interactive community feedback module to say what you think. This will be launching shortly. How does it work? Just think about Facebook. You can like the aspects of specific points through the feedback module. You can give a thumbs up to any particular goals you deem worthy. Make a comment on a specific activity, and we'll route that directly to that agency. So here's your opportunity to say your piece and be heard. We'll just have you note that this feature will only be open for a limited time, so please don't delay. We really want to hear from you.
So to find out more, please look out for our blog post at www.whitehouse.gov/AAPI. You can also check out the initiative's Agency Accomplishment Report that highlights the great progress that agencies have made over the last year on behalf of the AAPI community. So thank you for your leadership. There's so much more in store over the next year, and we are really looking forward to working with all of you and having you be a part of it.
Great. Well, thank you, Barbara, Linda, and the rest of the Region 9 team out in San Francisco. And folks, bear with us. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty in terms of switching screens. I think you can hear the folks who are in our other locations, but you may not be able to see them, but we're going to work to fix that. So with that, though, I do want to take us to our next speaker. So we're going to head south from San Francisco to Hollywood. We're very excited to have Malik Controle join us. You may, I'm sure you'll recognize him from 30 Rock and Weeds and other stuff that he's been in. So we're very proud to have our little Hollywood star with us right here today. Thank you, Malik, for joining us. And over to you, please.
Thanks so much, you guys. I'm so happy to be a part of all this, AAPI's first community Google Hangout. It's really cool. I think it's so awesome that we're using this technology. I have to say that normally when I'm on camera, I've gotten to spend some time with a hair and makeup artist, which is not the case today. So that's a little daunting, but what you see is what you get. No, but in all seriousness, I want to thank AAPI for including me on this call. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of everything that you guys are doing, and particularly your commitment to the AAPI community. One of AAPI's major areas of focus is education, and education was a point that my parents stressed to both me and my sister quite a deal when we were growing up, mostly in terms of like, you better get good grades, but also we were taught this message that if we studied hard, we'd be able to open doors, that we'd have more choices in our career paths, and ultimately, hopefully, that this would put us in a position that would allow us to be of service to people who didn't have the opportunities that we had growing up. And this line of education has been something that's been really important to my family. I remember taking trips back to India when my grandparents were still alive and going to visit my grandparents at their house. And when you go through the front door, one of the first things I would see at my grandparents' house was this statue. It was like, I don't know what you can see on the screen there, but a relatively big statue of a little boy reading a book. So this idea that education could better your lives has been instilled in me since I was a very, very little boy. As we all probably know, education is an essential and a critical step to get people to move into the middle class. And I think most of us, somewhere in the back of our heads, we understand that higher education equals a higher income. But what you might not know, what is amazing to me, is that a person with a bachelor's degree earns 63% more than a high school graduate. 63% more. I mean, that's a huge number. So you just take away all the other benefits of education, it's extremely important just for a financial perspective. And knowing this, the president has set his 2020 education goal. The goal is this: by the year 2020, the U.S. will have the highest proportion of college graduates in the world. It's a pretty big and aggressive goal, but obviously one that I think we can achieve. And a critical part of achieving this goal is going to be working with underserved communities. Underserved communities are the fastest growing demographic, but they have the lowest rates of college attainment. So, how do we target and work with these communities? The answer is to work with the AAPIs, which someone already mentioned before. AAPI. It's AANAPISI. It stands for Asian American and Native American Pacific Islander Serving Institutions. AAPI. Believe me, I lobbied very hard to get this name changed, but I think over time it will catch on. You just have to say it over and over. It's like AAPI, AAPI, easy peasy, easy peasy. You'll get it. So what are AAPIs? AAPIs are colleges and universities with a high percentage of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders that work with underserved populations. AAPIs provide students with culturally relevant services, with curricular and academic program development, with resource and research development, and all of these activities are key activities in assisting in retaining students and also graduating students. So AAPI is going to continue to highlight the work that these AAPIs are doing through a monthly listserv and also through regular webinars that will walk people through the federal government grants and programs. So I'm going to introduce a very, very cool video that AAPI created that will highlight and probably make a little bit clearer what these AAPIs are, why they're relevant, why we need to support these schools. It's a lot of information in this video, but I think it's really easy to digest and to understand, and it's also got a really great soundtrack. So without further ado,
Malik, I hate to, unfortunately, because of the technical difficulties, I don't think we're going to be able to play the video just yet. We'll try to play it a little bit later.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Unfortunately, but we'll make sure people get a link.
After all that build-up, you get no video, but believe me, it's very cool. And when they do finally play it, you will be glad you waited.
We promise.
So along with this video, which someday you'll maybe get to see, AAPI's launching a campaign, and they want to hear from you on why AAPIs matter. So if you are at an AAPI, if you're a student at one of the institutions, if you're a professor, if you're, say, the president of one of the institutions, if you graduated from an AAPI, if you work with an AAPI, or if you just like saying the word AAPI, we would love for you to share your story with us. And I'm not sure if this is going to work either, but we have a link to find out if schools meet the criteria. Are we going to be able to upload that?
I don't think we can do it right now, but we'll make sure.
No, we can't.
We'll try to do it later.
But later on, you'll find out a way to find out if your school is a non-APC. So if you want to share your story, which I hope you will, the way to do it is to send a photo over Twitter. You can take as Gautam is demonstrating, you can take a photo of yourself with your smartphone or your camera. You're holding up a sign. You'd make a great model, Gautam. Thank you. And just fill in the blanks. Just say, I'm a part of the hashtag AANAPISI story because blank. Or my hashtag AANAPISI story is blank. And then tweet your photo to @WhiteHouseAAPI. Again, that's @WhiteHouseAAPI. And I know that and I think a lot of people on this call will retweet your picture and get your message out there. You can also send a photo or a written story via email. You just have to email it to whitehouseaapi@ed.gov. Again, that's whitehouseaapi@ed.gov. And you can also, if you're technology proficient, you can upload a video onto YouTube and then tweet the public link to, again, @whitehouseaapi, or you can email the link to whitehouseaapi@ed.gov. And hopefully what we'll do is get all these stories and pictures and videos and just really get the message out about the AAPCs and how important they are. And because in the end, I think that that's what it's all about. It's about community, and it's about giving our community the best possible shot at life. So I hope that you will join me in not only learning how to say AAPC, but also supporting the great work that they're doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Malik. AAPC, it's not that hard.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it could be worse. Well, as we mentioned earlier, we want to be able to take your questions as we do this Hangout. So as a reminder, you can either put your questions on the Google Plus website, you can tweet them at us using WHIAAPI, that's hashtag WHIAAPI, or you can email them to us at whitehouseaapi@ed.gov. And we have two questions to get us started. The first is from B. Justin, and the question is, how can I get involved this coming May across the country? And Connor, this might be a good question for you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Hi, B. Justin. How are you, wherever you are? Thanks for your question. You know, the I Am Beyond theme, what we're looking for is how people embrace that story, that experience of being able to move, meeting challenges and excelling beyond them. And so we're looking for images, photos, poems, performances, videos, ways in which we can imagine the American experience as one that's aspirational and moving beyond stereotypes, moving and meeting challenges and excelling in spite of challenge. And so we have a series of actual projects that are happening with the center. One is called A Day in the Life, which is there's a call circulating around that asks for photos to capture a day in the life. It's something that could be used for I Am Beyond. So we're looking for a whole lot of ideas, ones in which capture through art, through culture, through performance, the ways in which we find meaning in our identity is expressed through the arts. So I Am Beyond, you can visit our website, you can contact us there and learn more, and we'll be putting up information shortly about that. But we really appreciate people's contributions, because really this is only successful if everyone participates in it. And we know that at the Smithsonian, the stories that we tell here in Washington aren't all the stories out there. We want to tell America's whole story.
You know, and I was just going to add one thing, Conrad, is I think it's such a great theme, and I know folks will be planning their Asian American Civic Islander Heritage Month events all over the country in different states, and I would love, you know, for folks to use that theme, I Am Beyond, and you know, with their community events. And also, I would even encourage the federal agencies. I think it's a very powerful theme. There's a lot of ways, not only through social media, to tell our stories and to do it in a really compelling way. So
yeah, thanks, Karen. I mean, yeah, you're right. We've talked about this where you want the theme to be something that captures hope and inspiration. So great idea.
Yeah.
Well, you both are beyond cool. Was that cheesy? A little bit? Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah, not going to be a comedian. But we have another question that we got over Twitter, and this is from Shyam, who's asking, how can the business community get involved with the White House Initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders? So that is a great question. Karen, do you want to take a stab at that? And then maybe we can go to our next speaker.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, I mean, I think for us, you know, the business sector, the private sector is so critically important for the work that we do. I don't know if you know, but I mean, there's just so many Asian American Pacific Islander businesses out there, whether it's a small mom and pop, whether it's the largest, you know, larger corporations, a lot of our entrepreneurs, whether, you know, in Silicon Valley or in other places. And so for us, we are, we're really, you know, moving towards a more concerted effort with AAPI businesses. So a couple of things. One is we'd love for you to email us at whitehouseaapi@ed.gov to join our Economic Zone newsletter. That's like the first thing. You know, sign up. This newsletter has a ton of information on contract opportunities, grant opportunities, webinars that we're doing to make sure the information that you need to really partner with the administration and take advantage of all the programs and services that are available that you know about those. Also, we're looking for ways that the private sector can partner with us. This is part of the partnership challenge, is that if you have ideas, whether it's apps where you think there's a different way that we can look at a problem, whether you're interested in working more closely with an agency and wanting to do an MOU, is like a technical government term where you want to, you know, actually do a bunch of projects with an agency. I mean, that's something to think about. Also, you know, we're looking for ways that if you care, let's say, about education, like making college more affordable or around health issues, we want the private sector more involved than ever, and we want to partner with you, especially where you're looking to put your resources or you're looking to lend your name to this effort. Those are the kinds of things that we're looking to partner with you on, and we hope that you know, from the minimal, you know, joining the newsletter to doing something even more innovative and more engaging is something that might be interesting to you.
Great. Well, that sounds good. Well, why don't we try actually going to some of our folks here at the WIAPI headquarters. So, ICASU students at the initiative headquarters, are you there?
Hi.
Hey. Hi.
Okay. Hi, I'm Juliana Wong, and I'm here for the ICASU conference in Washington, D.C. I am inspired to learn about the work that you're doing to bring new focus to AAPIs, and I would love to raise awareness about how we could apply for AAPI funding, and how can I learn more and be a part of this effort.
And you said AAPI so easily, so congratulations. Karen, is that a...
It rolled off my tongue.
And certainly Malik chime in. I think, you know, I wanted to also reiterate that we're going to be actually hanging out with the ICASU students tomorrow with Secretary Duncan, talking not only about AAPIs, but about college affordability, about the work that we're doing around civil rights issues like combating bullying and harassment in our community. So we're really looking forward to that. So it's great to see you guys here a day earlier. So I think, you know, I really think, you know, we're really excited about this AAPI story effort and promoting AAPIs. I think one thing that is really challenging is, you know, a lot of people don't know about AAPIs, and I wonder also the students that actually go to AAPIs actually know they go to an AAPI, and so I think it's kind of a term of art, but what it does mean is something really, really important, is that these institutions educate a disproportionate number of our Asian American Pacific Islander students who are low income, who are underserved, and they are a big part of this effort, the President's 2020 goal around college completion. And we want to make sure that they're getting the support that they need, whether it's from the government, whether it's from the private sector. And so I think the students are a big part of that, of, you know, telling your story, why it's meant so much to be going to an AAPI, or if you have friends or family who have, I think those are the kind of stories that aren't necessarily getting out there. Another thing that was mentioned earlier was we have a newsletter focused on AAPIs. Also, and this newsletter actually pushes out opportunities for grants. It highlights best practices, and our story is it's not just the resources coming from the Department of Education, but there are significant dollars that come out of a lot of different agencies to support minority-serving institutions. So we want to make sure that our institutions know about this and that they're taking advantage of it. And so we want to make sure there's a new web page up that has the information about AAPIs, and so I want to make sure that you know about it. It's bit.ly/AAPIs, all caps. bit.ly/AAPIs, I hope I'm saying that right, all caps, where you can go and find out about all the resources, the schools that are listed as AAPIs, and more ways really that you can get involved. And I think we're also going to have the video up on that webpage as well.
And again, you can tweet out why you care about AAPIs. So here's your sample. Great. Thanks. Well, I think we're now going to go out to deep into the heart of Texas, where we're joined by Jamie Ferguson, who's chairman of Asian Pacific Islander American Chamber of Commerce and Entrepreneurship. That's a mouthful, so we call them ACE. So Jamie and folks at ACE, over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm here today. I'm joined by Maria Bagava, who is the executive director for the Greater Austin Asian Chamber of Commerce. And also we have other AAPI business leaders within our community from Austin, Texas. So welcome. The weather's wonderful here, and it looks like it's going to continue for several more weeks. So we are grateful. Also want to mention that APISF, which is a national scholarship organization for AAPI students, they're also involved with RPC, and they have a partnership, so you can also reach out to them. Okay. First of all, I want to congratulate you and thank you for the White House initiatives for encouraging the communities to join in partnership with you, with your program. This is a great opportunity for AAPI leaders in partnering with a White House initiative to solve and create initiatives where we can provide a need and meet the need of the AAPI communities. Today we have over 1.5 million AAPI business-owned groups in U.S. And from that 1.5 million AAPI business, they provide over $500 billion to the U.S. economy, which is tremendous. Not everybody knows that. Earlier today, that you had mentioned that you had partnered with community-based organizations. So I want to add on to the question that was asked earlier today concerning your partnership with the business leaders within the AAPI business industry. So my question is going beyond, do you have some examples of the type of partnership that we can be involved with in the future with our AAPI business leaders? Thank you.
Great. That's a great question. Anyone want to take a stab at an answer?
Well, I don't want to kind of sound a little bit like a broken record, but I think it is a really good question. And again, it just gives me another opportunity to push our partnership challenge, that we want folks to share their ideas. It's interesting, we're going to have also the great folks from Oakland, Jeff from APCHO and Sherry Hirota and the Asian Health Services, my rock stars. And it's interesting because APCHO, though it's a nonprofit organization, we partnered with them early on to do health-focused webinars, trying to get information out to the community. So it can really be as simple as, how can we better serve your members, whether it's members in the chamber or members of your organization, information that they need, whether it's on the Affordable Care Act, whether it's on contracting opportunities. It helps us because, you have the membership. You actually know kind of what are the issues that are impacting your constituents on the ground. Another way is, you're over there in Texas. I think, one thing that the initiative got really involved in, soon after we were reestablished was what was happening down in the Gulf Coast with the BP oil spill. And we worked directly with Vietnamese, Southeast Asian fishermen who were just completely devastated, as you know, with their own businesses. And I think at the time it would have been great if, you know, there was ACE or other groups, or we could look to you to partner with your business acumen and your expertise on how, you know, really taking the resources within our own communities to help those communities, you know, other segments in the Asian American community who are underserved or who are really going through challenging times. So, I mean, those are just some ideas, but I know there's so much more that I'm probably not even tapping or mentioning, but I hope those are helpful.
Great, thanks, Karen. Well, now we're actually going to go back over to California to our friends Jeff Caballero at AAPCHO, that's the Association of Asian Pacific Community Health Organizations, and Sherry Hirota at Asian Health Services. So over to Oakland, California.
Hello, everybody. Can you see me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi. It's really great to see you all without having to travel to Washington. My name is Jeff Caballero, and I'm representing the Association of Asian Pacific Community Health Organizations, AAPCHO. And we are working with the Asian Pacific Islander American Health Forum, the Advancing Justice LA, and the AAJC network to serve the ACA outreach and enrollment needs of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in 21 states across the country. And it's really great and honor for me to be here at Asian Health Services today.
Hi, I'm Sherry Hirota. As CEO of Asian Health Services, I can tell you, due to the ACA, we have never been busier. Thousands have already been assisted in signing up with our California Health Exchange, Covered California, and drum roll, over 4,000 have gone from uninsured to having health insurance, in many cases, for the first time in their lives. This has been not without a big challenge because the majority of our community are limited English proficient and need interpretation and bilingual services. That is why the Asian Pacific Islander serving health centers are essential in reaching this community, which is over 15% uninsured and have difficulties navigating the health system and understanding the new rules. But we are proud to be a part of the effort to implement the ACA.
So, as many of you know, as national leaders, this work is very difficult, but it's certainly made more doable or more successful when we partner with with the staff at the Department of Health and Human Services. So we're very interested to learn more about the updated HHS agency plans and how they plan to support the Asian American Pacific Islander communities. So as you started to say earlier, Karen, can you tell us a little bit more how community leaders may be able to access these plans and provide some feedback?
Yeah, sure. So I think, you know, what's really exciting about this effort, I think we're also, you know, we're trying to be more transparent and accountable. I know that's been, you know, really priorities for the president since day one about opening the doors of government to our community. So we're taking that literally. And so, you know, over the past few years, the agencies have created what we call strategic plans of how they're going to lay out the work that they do for the AAPI community. And some of the goals that they focused on have been around data and research, which is really important to our community because if we don't have that information, frankly, we really don't have a good sense of what our community looks like. Around language access, which Sherry, you talked about, which is so important, especially for the number of uninsured in our community. Also focusing on diversity in the federal workforce. And finally, on capacity building, you know, access to resources, to services, to grants. And those pieces are all in those plans that are available and have been updated. And so they're actually they're live right now. We have just uploaded these plans for the community to provide feedback. And so if you go to aapi.ideascale.com, aapi.ideascale.com. You can find those plans. You can thumbs up, thumb down on specific, thumbs up on specific efforts that our agencies are focused on. And if you have comments, critical and or ones where you support those objectives, you can actually email that specific information to us so we can get that feedback and send that directly to the agencies. And so we're really excited. This effort is going to go on for the next month or so. So we really encourage you to provide this feedback. I think for us, we really encourage this participation from the agencies, and so for them to, I think for all of us to know that this matters and that it's something we should continue, it's so important for you to provide that feedback to us, because we know that you're out there and you care and you support the work that we're doing. So.
Great. Well, thank you, Jeff and Sherry. It's so great for you to join us, and thank you for all the work you're doing on the ground to implement the Affordable Care Act. That's the ACA for folks. You might also call it Obamacare. We do most of the time because the president cares. And so we're really excited about the work that's being done to make sure that people have access to health care. In fact, we have a question over Twitter from MN Mong, who I'm guessing you're from Minnesota, so hello, Minnesota. And the question was, how can I get involved with ACA efforts? And one thing I wanted to mention that we're really excited about is we're having a Champions of Change effort coming up, where we're trying to recognize the efforts of individuals and organizations on the ground all across the country to educate our community about why the Affordable Care Act matters, and to get them involved and to get people enrolled and get them access to health care. So you can learn more about that at whitehouse.gov/AAPI. And if you know of someone or an organization that's doing great work, we want you to nominate them so that we can invite them to the White House and recognize them as a champion of change. And so this is a critically important effort. It means a lot to the president, and we hope you'll get involved. Did you want to add anything in terms of how can communities get involved with the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some great work that Jeff mentioned, that they're doing this whole collaborative effort that's happening across the country. So I know with APCHO and the Health Forum, you can certainly get plugged in with them. And, with the initiative, we've created this ambassador program for young people. So, whether in your college or in your communities, it's so important for young people to get insured, and we've established this program where you can be a spokesperson in your communities. And so we hope that you, if you are interested, we ask that you do go to our website at whitehouse.gov AAPI to check that out and to get more information.
And what's the program called?
Hey!
Hey!
Healthy Engaged Youth.
Healthy Engaged Youth. Hey! Or hey! Whichever you like. So another great way to get involved. And there's also the Get Covered campaign, which is #GetCovered. So lots of ways to get involved over social media as well. We have actually another question, but before I get to that, the Champions of Change program is all about being inspired by the stories out there. And I have to take a moment just to ask Malik, you've run into all sorts of cool people in Hollywood. Who's your most inspiring personal celebrity inspiration?
Oh my gosh, that's always like such a challenging question. I'll just start close to home, and I'll say that I feel like I've gotten so lucky. I've gotten to work with so many people who are doing really incredible work, whether it's Alec Baldwin or Tina Fey or Mary Louise Parker or Lisa Kudrow, just like people who are doing innovative, new, exciting, really funny TV. So I'm definitely inspired by all of them. But I also will say that, it seems like a big theme of this whole Google Hangout is building awareness. There's a lot of stuff that people don't know about, and just saying like, hey, it's out there and it's important, and we need to like educate one another about it. And so to that end, to build on what Conrad was saying, I think there's a lot of talent within the AAPI community, and so stuff like I Am Beyond and this exhibition that the Smithsonian's doing, the Beyond Bollywood exhibition that's opening, I believe, this month as well. Hopefully it'll be a way to highlight all the artistic work that's being done in the AAPI community, so that we can also like have role models within our own community and hopefully inspire each other. And I think part of that is just like letting people know the great work that people are doing. There's obviously the big names that you see a lot, like Mindy Kaling or Cal Penn, but there's a lot of people who are doing really great work out there that hopefully we'll be able to promote by having community stuff like this go on in the future.
That's great. Well, thank you for answering that question. We have time for a couple more questions before we run out of time. We have one from our inbox, which is, I'm from a nonprofit in New York City. How can I get involved with my region's regional interagency working group, or as we're calling it now, the posse?
Yeah, I just came up with that.
She just came up with that. So how can you get involved? Yeah.
I think actually you want to ask the region.
Oh, sure. Actually, yeah. Region 9 folks, can you help answer? How can a local nonprofit get involved?
Okay, now we're off mute. New York has one of the biggest regions out there. They're incredibly active. I know they're planning an event. I don't have their immediate contact on me, but if you want to email me, I'll put you in contact with the right person. Should I just give you my email address? It's Linda, Linda.Lee, li@eeoc.gov. Email me and I'll put you in contact with your local RIWG or our posse.
That's great. And again, for anyone who's interested in plugging in with the Regional Interagency Working Group, or the posse, that's really a much easier way to say this. You can just email the initiative directly at whitehouse.aapi@ed.gov. We have another question from the inbox, which is, how can students learn more about federal government internships? And I'm going to use a second to plug the White House internship program, which you should all apply to. It's whitehouse.gov/internships. And I believe we're now taking applications for, it might actually be for next winter, or this coming winter. So you have to apply well in advance, but we hope you will. We'd love to have more folks in the building. Either of you?
Yeah, and my shame. Oh, no, you go first, and I'll do
shameless plug. So, yeah.
Well, you know, it's terrific that there are people out there who are interested in the Smithsonian and internship programs in general. One of the things that I say about internships is they are the lifeblood of the community. I mean, Malik is an amazing role model in talking about the arts, and as someone who works in museums, you look to internships as as cultivating and stewarding a future generation of leaders, of cultural leaders. And we need people who can understand the value of culture and cultural production. Because without curators, without museum conservators, without people who are involved in film festivals, to galleries, to theaters, we really do lose out on the lifeblood of a community's voice. And I think it's really important that people do ask about internships. So the plug would be, there's a couple of ways to do internships at the Smithsonian. With the Smithsonian Asian Pacific American Center, which is probably one of the coolest offices of the Smithsonian, but that's just my personal opinion. So you can visit our website at www.apa.si.edu. You can dig into the website and you'll find that there's a page on internships. They happen much like a college semester, so we have fall, spring, or winter, depending on where you live, and summer. And also the Smithsonian Internship Program, the Office of Fellowships and Internships. It's really for us an opportunity to share our knowledge, and hopefully the folks that come through the center and the Smithsonian will be those voices that really say that this is the American story. So that's a good question.
Yeah, and I think it made me think about this, that we have some awesome interns that work for the initiative, and my feeling is like interns rule the world. So you get some great experience if you come to Washington, D.C., because they do some really awesome work. And so we're right now for spring semester accepting applications on a rolling basis. You can go to our website at whitehouse.gov AAPI, or our email, which is whitehousEAPI@ed.gov. Also for summer, which I know is a popular time to come to DC, I think our deadline is March 15th. So that is approaching. So the earlier the better. And we're looking for folks who are really dedicated, who care about the community. I think it's a great way to get involved. And also on our webpage, because we don't want to just hoard all the interns, they'll have information about other federal agencies and internship opportunities there. And we're also actually working with other agencies to move some of your applications. So they'll also be able to peruse all the various applications and interests from our community to not just work with the White House or the Smithsonian or AAPI, but with a lot of the different federal agencies that are here in DC. I should also mention, I know that even in the federal regions they take internships, so I think that's also something for folks to consider if they don't want to come all the way here.
Although we would encourage you to come to Washington, D.C. It's a great place to be. We promise it's not like House of Cards or Scandal or Veep. Believe me, it's a lot nicer than that. So we welcome you to our city and hope you'll join us here. So guys, we are almost out of time, but some closing thoughts?
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's joined in the Google Hangout from the different regions and participating. Malik, we love you. I know you've been a great supporter for the exhibition. And I am so blessed to have colleagues. I mean, Washington is great because of people who are so passionate about the work that they do. And while we're in different fields, I feel that we're doing the same thing, which is a service to the nation, so that we can empower a greater number of the country to feel part of this country, whether it's through participation of programs or seeing themselves reflected in the national story. So sitting beside these cool folks here, has been such a great honor today, and being able to address questions from the crowd has been wonderful, and listening to the different people who've participated across the country. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, can I just say like ditto? But so it's I'm really excited about the work ahead, and especially just around the partnership. So I just really encourage everyone to reach out to us, let us know how we can partner with you to come into your communities. Shout out to all the folks from Oakland to Hollywood to Texas to the WIAPI headquarters, all the great work that all of you all are doing. We could not be doing this without you, and so we're just really grateful.
Well, we're just about out of time, so we're really excited you joined us, and we hope you'll let us know how we did. So you can take a survey at bit.ly/AAPI Hangout survey. Again, that's the right link. Again, it's bit.ly/AAPI Hangout survey. And you can also learn a lot more about everything we're doing here at whitehouse.gov/AAPI. So it's been great to talk to all of you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your month, and please stay in touch with all of us. See you next time. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.